Hello, everybody. This is Purge bringing you guys a That's Right replay commentary. I'm not kidding. This time I'm going to be doing a Brewmaster game. I looked to see what heroes you guys wanted me to play. This is on my website, purgegamers.true.io, and Brewmaster is third. That's a hero I actually can play decently well, so I played this last night with Chachi. And by played it, I mean I randomed it and therefore played it. But let's talk about Brewmaster a little bit. Your most requested, by the way, right now is TA, a hero I'm okay at, but kind of bad. And a hero, Wind Ranger, who I'm pretty awful at, but I wish I was better, because I'm just really bad at shackling. Other than that, we have Io, Batrider, Chen, Sven, Jakiro, Meepo, Teki. So quite a few heroes that I know decently well, but a couple that I'm pretty bad at, moderately. So get into those pretty soon. With that said, let's jump into the Dota buff section, something we haven't done in forever. If you guys want to skip ahead of this, feel free. I'll put an annotation in, and you can skip this. But if you guys are new to Brewmaster, I'd really recommend paying attention to these sections because there's so much good information I think that we can learn from this. And again, just full disclosure, I am sponsored by Dota Buff, and part of the reason I started this aspect of the series is because they asked me to as part of the sponsorship. But I think it's really useful, so I like doing it anyways. Brewmaster. He is extremely unpopular right now. This is third from the bottom. He does not have a super high win rate, but it's okay. He requires a moderate amount of micro. He generally requires a decent lane to have a good time. It's kind of hard to play him. To scale is difficult. To farm is difficult, kind of. It's like he just has tons and tons of problems. So first things first, let's talk about the base hero. Amazing strength gain, 2.9. Agility gain's pretty bad, but kind of okay. And his end gain is actually awful. This is absolutely atrocious end gain. Base damage is great. Base armor is okay. His attack points and his animation are good. Movement speed's slightly above average, maybe around average. In terms of skill build, this is the most recommended one, Max Thunderclap, because it does a massive amount of damage and it removes or lowers attack speed and movement speed slow by 50%, 55%. So it's a really good skill. This is your best farming ability just because it's an AoE. Your other important ability is arguably your passive, Drunken Brawler. It gives you a evasion as well as a crit chance, so 10 to 25% scaling. If you crit, it's a 2 times hit. And also, for as you activate it, if you don't battle for like a certain amount of time, between 16 and 10 seconds depending on the level, it gives you a guaranteed crit. That way you have reliable crit damage. So for example, if you're initiating on somebody, what you should technically do is blink, attack, clap, or guaranteed dodge chance. Okay, so there's a guaranteed dodge chance and a guaranteed attack. I didn't realize that there was both. So yeah, after 10 seconds, you guaranteed they will miss their first attack on you, or something will miss its first attack on you, and you get a guaranteed critical attack. So it's one way to make the hero slightly better in terms of DPS, but you don't really want to play him that way, and that's because your ultimate kind of prevents it. We'll talk about the ultimate. That was a good transition, but we weren't done with Drunken Haze yet. Drunken Haze's ability, you target one hero or a unit, and it does an AoE where it lands, and it applies a movement speed slow and a miss chance. Very spammable ability, great at breaking Lincolns, 5-second cooldown at the max level, but at level 1 it is a 45% miss, 14% movement speed slow. So I recommend getting at least 1 point in this early, because you can use it potentially to stop people from last hitting. It's not super reliable there, but 45% is massive, so it's like a pretty good chance that they might just miss the last hit they're about to get. So pretty good skill. Yeah, and this is the most popular build, I would say. Usually maxing out Drunken Brawler second. I think this game I actually maxed Drunken Haze second because I was playing offlane. And then the way your ultimate works is you split your hero into 3 little brew lanes, which have different abilities. And the problem is that their damage is not based on how much your damage is. It's not based on your crit. It's based on what level the primal split is. The one important thing to remember is that your auras that you have as Brewmaster will apply to your earth, to your brewling splits or whatever. So you get a fire panda, you get a storm panda, and you get a earth panda. And the way that these work is the fire panda is running max movement speed, and he has a immolation aura, and he has a pretty decent attack. The storm panda is ranged. The fire panda is melee, by the way. Storm panda is ranged. It has a cyclone ability, lasts for 6 seconds. It's a super OP ability. It has about a 6-second cooldown, so you can pretty much permanently lift one person in a team fight with cyclone. You also have a dispel AoE. It's a huge AoE that you can use on your team or your enemies to dispel things like Omniknight Repel, Guardian Angel. If they have an urn on themselves, I think you should be able to dispel that. There's a lot of things. If Ember Spirit uses his fire shield, you can dispel it. There's a lot of value to that skill. It's just difficult to micro in the moment, and it's always pretty difficult to remember when to cast it. But usually use that spell mostly to remove the Cyclone on somebody. So if you only want to Cyclone somebody temporarily, you can lift them into there and then a moment later cast the Dispel. So if you need to interrupt a TP, or if you didn't actually want to keep that guy in the air for 6 seconds, then you Dispel him. And the most important, maybe the second most important ability on the Storm is actually his Windwalk. It's the best way that the Storm does damage, the Storm Panda. You Windwalk and it gives you bonus damage when you attack afterwards. And it increases your movement speed, so you can end up Yulesing somebody easier or catching them and therefore Yulesing them. But it's very important that you cycle through that Windwalk multiple times when you ulti split, because it does a lot of damage. And your final Panda is arguably your most important one, the Earth Panda. And what that one does is he's pretty slow, but he has a Pulverize, which is a chance at doing AoE physical damage, I believe. And then he also has a Hurl Boulder, which does very little damage, but it has, you can cast it about 2, maybe 3 times per ulti duration, and that will stun somebody for, I believe, 1 to 1.5 seconds. It doesn't do a lot of damage, like 50 to 200, depending on the level, I'm sure, but it's a really good skill. So basically, your goal as Brewmaster is to team fight. Your ulti has a really long cooldown, but whenever it's up, you want to use it because it should help you get a kill. You don't want to use it defensively. By the way, after it runs out, you will respawn as Brewmaster wherever your Storm Panda or your Earth Panda is. So basically, when things are getting a little rough, you need to run away with your Earth Panda. If your Earth Panda dies, then you will spawn at your Storm Panda, and if your Storm Panda is dead, then you'll respawn at your Fire. But usually your Pandas don't die until late game, when people get really strong in terms of physical damage. Things like PA, Sven can work really well against it. But you definitely want to use Split every time it's up. You should think of this similar to Tidehunter when you Ravage people, because you want to make sure that you can get value out of it. You should think of it as your impact on the game skill, because without this, you're kind of a crappy hero. All you have is 1 nuke, this crappy mischance slow thing, and a chance at critting and evading damage, which isn't good. And that's because you can't build damage items, because when you do use your ultimate, your damage items don't work. It kind of makes the hero a little bit weird. It makes him very strong at team fighting, but it makes him very weird in terms of being able to have any variation in his item build, which is one of the big issues with the hero right now. You can build Aghanim Scepter on this hero, which is pretty good, because I don't think it makes your brews stronger anymore. It's done a various amount of things in the past. It used to like increase your duration and stuff like that, or make your brews 1 level higher than it used to. But now what it does is it makes it so your 3 base skills get applied to each panda. So the Fire Panda will get your Drunken Brawler, a chance to dodge and crit, which is pretty strong because he hits hard. Your Storm Panda will get Drunken Haze, so you can still cast this while you're using Primal Split. And your Earth Panda gets Thunderclap, which is really good. So hypothetically, in a perfect team fight, what you can do with Brewmaster is blink in, cast Thunderclap to slow everybody, then you can use Primal Split, and then immediately after Primal Splitting, you can Earth Thunderclap again a second time, already doing 600 AoE damage, and then you can do things like throw out Drunken Haze, throw out the Earth Panda's Boulder. You can basically do a massive amount of magic damage just by having your eggs. But it takes a lot of practice, and it takes some good micro. We won't be able to see that super well because we're using a replay commentary, so you don't see micro as well, but I'll explain it a lot, I'm sure. So Eggs is a really good build. Blink Dagger's arguably the most important. It's definitely necessary because it helps you get into position to cast your ulti in the first place. If you have to ulti just to close the gap, you're already kind of messing up. You usually want to be right on top of them when you cast it. That way, when you clap and it takes a second for you to transform, that you can easily follow up afterwards and get your spells off. So it's definitely a teamfight disruption spell, but also does decent damage, more so than it has in the past. It's been getting buffed a couple of times. Auras are really good, like I said, because they apply to your Storm or your Earth Panda when you transform. So things like Vlad's is great because it gives 4 armor to you and all your pandas, meaning they die slower. AC is also great, gives attack speed to all of them, as well as armor and minus armor to your opponents, so that's a really good aura as well. And then sometimes you can buy some fancy stuff like Radiance. This is obviously like a outlier game, but there are some items late game that are really good on this hero. Arcane Boots is really good because it allows you to spam your Thunderclap a lot, but I had a really good game this game, so I skipped the Arcane Boots and I got away with just Brown Boots for a long time and eventually got BOTs. I'll talk about that when we get in game. But Brew does often go mid. Mid is the most common place to play Brewmaster just because you can get levels for sure, and you get farmed decently well, and you're fairly difficult to gank, and you should get Blink at a relatively fast timing. But I had a pretty good offlane. I was kind of in a 1v1 sometimes, so I was pretty happy. Here's your good against Io, probably because he just dies, and you can also use him with the Cyclone for a long time. Techies is a little bit bizarre. I'm not quite sure why that one is, but a lot of these are very bizarre. Most of these heroes do not have disables though, which means that they're having trouble probably killing the Brewmaster, which means he always gets his ultimate off. Things that are good against Brewmaster are things like Mana Drain, Wow, Weaver actually does have no advantage. This makes sense. I actually had a lot of trouble. I played against a Weaver this game. It was pretty tough in a lot of times. I thought he was really good at laning, actually. His MMR afterwards was really low. It was like 3,500. I was very surprised. But he did a fantastic job laning against me. Um, it does make sense why he's fairly effective, but these percentages are really not that bad, honestly. Most of them are hard stuns. Things like Legion Commander are definitely scary. This gift guy can silence, prevents me from ulting Tusk. Lots of disables, easy for him to get out. His Sigil will reduce the attack speed and the movement speed of my Brewlings, and Nature's Prophet can oftentimes just TP away. Because if I ever want to kill Prophet, if I'm playing Brewmaster, I'd have to ulti, because that's my only disable, my only hard stun. So that's probably one of the reasons Prophet's annoying. You have to close the gap first, and then you have to stun him. It's kind of tough. So yeah, and a lot of these heroes are difficult to kill. Timbersaw has tons of pure damage, so it doesn't matter that I have evasion. And I'm also a strength hero, so that means that he can remove a lot of my HP temporarily by using Whirling Death. So that should cover just about everything about the hero. Not a super popular pro hero, as you can see. He is a hero that has occasionally seen good streaks in the pro scene, but lately it's been a long time since Brewmaster was seen as a good hero. I think his ultimate is pretty long cooldown, and again, he's very, very reliant on getting a Blink Dagger for his hero to be useful, and most teams are forced to have heroes that are more effective at all stages of the game, and Brewmaster is not even that amazing at laning compared to most heroes. He will get outlaned by almost all mid heroes currently. In terms of the meta trends, he is not doing very good. His win rate's decent at 5k. Apparently he does really well at low MMRs. That's probably just because of evasion and ulti usage, because he's hard to kill. But this isn't a terrible win rate. I mean, if we look at the overall win rates of all heroes, and then we look for him, he is sitting, where are we? We're like at the bottom third. It's kind of bad, but it's not awful. I mean, a Moonmander, and it said yesterday in a cast that he thought Brewmaster, I assume that's the way this is how I interpret it at least, but he said that Brewmaster is one of the worst heroes right now. In a lot of ways, he's right, just because of the longevity of the cooldown. But I think he's okay. I think he's really fun to play. I've played him 31 times in all of Dota 2, and I have a 58% win rate. So, and I like Mike Green, so I'm pretty down. All right, so that was the Dota buff section. For those of you guys that missed that, sorry it's been so long since I did one of those, but haven't had as much time to play lately. More coaching, things like that. And traveling to events, things like that. So at this point, me and the Magnus were trying to decide who goes mid and who goes off lane. I decided that Mag should go mid because I felt like Brewmaster is better in off lane than Magnus. Magnus can survive, but it's kind of an iffy thing because he pretty much has to skewer to live, whereas I have slows, misses, evasion. All of my skills are relatively good at keeping me alive. So again, I randomed, so I had way more gold than I should have here. If you built this item build, you would have Salve Tango, Ring of Protection, Stout Shield. I think that's pretty good. Skip the Fairy Fire Mango. Those were the luxury things. And the other important thing is that about Magnus being mid is that I want Magnus to have a lot of levels, because if he does, then that means he's going to get more points in Empower, his second skill, which means that when he casts it on either me or the Troll, then we get Cleave physical damage, which should accelerate our farm. And Magnus usually does need a lot of levels. Like, he can always get to like 7 and have his ultimate available, but when Magnus gets to like 10 or so, towards 11, that's when he actually does have a lot of cleave levels. And that's what I want to do to make sure that Troll farms well and that Troll team fights better in the mid game, wherein Troll is usually a little weak based on item restrictions. So again, leaning against this this Weaver here, he did a really good job on the lane. Again, the important thing about Drunken Haze is it's a mischance based on auto attacks, but you can still use your spells to last hit. So what Weaver did really well, and he always reacted right away, was that he would use Sakuchi to get last hits when I would use that. And that's often what happens when you play against players that are bad at 1v1s, is that they don't react to how their lane should go. I mean, I casted this pretty early, so he had time to think about it, but I could have waited until he was about to go for the last hit and then gone for it. But just the way that he reacted to everything that I did was really good. He played very well around the fact that, like right there, I actually prevented his last hit maybe. And again, he gets another nuke here with some damage on me too. So I'm mostly just focused on last hitting. I think they do have a support, but he might be focused on pulling. Not quite sure. You could maybe argue that I should have Drunken Brawler. No, I actually don't agree with that at all. Because at least this way I can maybe prevent the Weaver from getting last hits. But I'm definitely concerned about the wave pushing. This is great because it's going to guarantee me experience. He was able to get that one last hit. I've actually cost myself quite a bit of mana here, casting that 3 times. Don't think I did more than denied him like one last hit, so I don't think that was very worth it. I also should adjust my camera a little bit down because I want to see what the Weaver, like I should be able to react faster to when Weaver gets in the lane. And I maybe should have had more of those last hits as well. It was a little iffy the way that I did this. But definitely get Drunken Thunderclap here. I maybe should have gotten Drunken Brawler just because of the harass that he's going to give me. And the other unfortunate part is I didn't even see this Undyne until right now. I was not paying good attention here. The clap was okay, but I think I should have done a little later. And the fact that he picked up the bugs here was really smart as well. Now with zombies and the bugs, there's almost no way that I don't die. I did buy out at least, but that was mostly a camera problem, and that I was focused so much on last hitting that I didn't pay attention to the fact that the Undyne was behind me for like 2 seconds there. So that was pretty stupid. I shouldn't have died like that. And now the important thing is for me to get to my lane ASAP, because all of these creeps are dying under tower, which means guaranteed last hits for me. And I actually really liked Iron Talon here on Brewmaster. It might be one thing that makes him decent in terms of an offlane hero, because if you do get your passive, then you will crit, and you're going to evade sometimes. So I feel like that plus Iron Talon can really enhance a lot of his farming that he needs to do. And in the past, what I would do is I'd rely almost entirely on Arcane Boots to farm on Brewmaster. And that works really well, but it's maybe not the catch-all solution that you should rely on as an offlane hero. I think a little bit of a mix of both is better. Maybe having some mana depending on how your lane's going, but also relying on Iron Talon. So again, I know the Undyne's in the lane. This was maybe a little... At the time, I felt like this was a mistake, but I was a little worried about the Undyne. In fact, I did just see him briefly on map. I don't know if that was a replay bug or not, but I went to go jungle here briefly. I think it would have been smart, actually. I think I should have used Drunken Haze level 1. I don't know if this is a solution. It lasts for 8 seconds. But I ended up basically taking about a salve's worth of damage here, possibly using 2 tangos as well, just to do this large camp, which is arguably really bad. If I use Drunken Haze, though, and it only cost me 50 mana, and they're missing 45% of the time, that could really make it more valuable. Because I basically left the lane there. I could have been getting this experience for the safety of knowing that I not only get farm, but I don't die. But it costs me a salve. So sometimes it's worth it to do unpredictable things like that as an offlane hero, because then the supports who are sitting around waiting to gank you might miss a pull, or lose some efficiency because of it, but other times it may not be worth it. And I've got really good levels right now. Level 4 at this, even feeding First Blood, it's completely reasonable. But it's more of like the support on the enemy team hasn't done a good job of pulling, not so much that I've done a good job as an offlane hero. But getting some experience like this is definitely very solid. Again, I should maybe be casting Drunken Haze on this guy, but... Walked over here to pick up a TP. Wanted to see if they would follow me. I didn't necessarily want to teleport if I didn't have to. I used the wrong TP. I think if you... Or cut the wrong tree. I think if you get a different one here, that you're fine. And as soon as they ended up sticking around, I just teleported to the tower. This is the best thing to do when you're not in any threat of dying and your HP's still really full. So I knew that if I tried to run all the way back, I definitely would have died. So it cost me 50 gold and my TP cooldown, and I'm easily able to get back into experience gain range. And it also cost him a tombstone. That was overall quite good for me. Yeah, the Weaver's doing a pretty good job laning, in my opinion. I did not like his item choices, though. He purchased a wand first. I don't think that's the build. I think he got that because of my Drunken Haze. This is maybe one reason why he's only 3.5k, but I think he would have been better off prioritizing something like Aquila first for damage, or maybe like regen, perhaps. I guess he doesn't need the regen because I'm never going to hit him. I did like the Blightstone. I thought that was a smart idea. Not that it's very complicated or anything, very standard build. And they clearly pulled here. And with those creeps being down there, especially now that I can see the Weavers down here, what I want to do is contest this. Try to steal a little bit. Most important thing, obviously, is to get the lane creeps, if possible, and then any last hits here that I can. And immediately after doing that, I looked on the map and I saw that there were no creeps left, which meant that Weaver could be nearby, which is why I moved forward. It's very, very important you do that. Denying range creeps occasionally like that is really good against the enemy carry as well, because it's a huge percentage of the experience in every creep wave. So even if I'm putting myself in a little danger like that, I think it's fairly worth it. And again, if I get in danger, the biggest thing I just need to do is thunderclap both heroes if possible, because it reduces their attack speed slow. And then getting under tower, that way the tower can help me kill the bugs and any zombies. I did a pretty bad job last sitting under tower though, this game. A little bit worse than normal, I would say. So what I should do here, I think, is I could go large camp, farm that, and then go heal, or I can go back to base and heal. And my plan actually was just get my ulti off cooldown. And again, this should be your goal as Brewmaster. And the easiest way to do this is with the smoke. And luckily I know how to do this because I play support a lot, so I understand how to approach early game ganks mid. I think he actually killed... Oh, that's right. He actually... Oh, he got a little blocked there by Tinker. He ends up dying for this one. It was a really good attempt. He actually did kill him apparently with I don't know if that was a tower hit or his shockwave long range, but I definitely did want to set up for this mid. This is actually quite dangerous the way I TP'd, in that I TP'd right under tower, which means that if they had any ward, and I want to check to see if they did, they actually did not. So they didn't spot us, but it was very greedy to attempt that the way that I did, which was TP under tier 1. It should have been tier 2, smoke here, and then wrap around, because they're not going to have a tower here. So I'm just waiting. We wanted to kill the Bloodseeker here. There's my boulder. It was actually quite close. I am slapping him a moderate amount, and then I use this guy. Actually, I started just killing him. Anyways, we got the Bloodseeker kill. That's pretty much what we wanted. It didn't cost me much. It just cost me a TP and a smoke, which is pretty reasonable. Oh, this is good. I was able to get within range of the Tinker here. Got a free crit in. I should have tanked the tower a little bit more here, in my opinion, rather than him, because I have a little bit more HP. Oh, that was a huge whiff. But as long as Magnus doesn't die, that's not a... It's overall a good fight. I wanted a sap experience for level 7, so I was able to do that. I maybe could have gotten a stack off if I didn't sap that, but... And now because I'm a little out of HP and I'm on my way back home, I figured I'd just jungle on the way there. Because at this point, again, I don't have my ultimate. This is the biggest thing that my hero does, is ulti split and team fight well. Because while I'm split, they basically can't kill me. I have 16 seconds where I can do as much damage and disable as possible. And that initiation went well because we were able to kill the Bloodseeker, but it wasn't easy. And again, that's because your damage is good on the hero, but it's not truly amazing or anything like that. If you cycle through your abilities well, it works decent. I didn't Yules anybody there. I didn't I don't even think I windwalked on the Storm Panda more than once, if that. I also could have casted, you know what would have been really smart actually, that I could have done literally all game, is every time that Bloodseeker casts a silence, I can run my Storm Panda outside of the silence. When the silence hits, I can dispel my whole team, removing silence from my entire team. That's arguably one of the best things that Brewmaster could do as a hero. That won't work against things like Global Silence, but... And again here, I farmed, I came back mid, my ulti's off cooldown again, and I'm already ready to team fight. I'm about 5 or 6 seconds late, because we could be here right now, as my ulti's coming off cooldown. But I just want to constantly use this as much as possible, because I know that it's going to help get me kills. I saw the Pudge over there, we see the Bloodseeker under the tower, but he's hugging the tower, so it's a little hard. And it doesn't really matter too much who we kill, as long as it's ideally a core. And here, just instantly go for it. There's the boulder, so it would have been a good time to run the Storm Panda out. We were able to get the double hit, and there was the invis, and everything went quite well here. So we got a double kill, again, because of a little bit of smoke. It's costing us a lot of smokes, but every fight and every engagement is really effective. Because look how much gold I have now. Like, that's basically like I smoked 2 times, and I jungled the large camp in between, and I'm almost at Blink Dagger. At this point, I might as well just rush it. Like, normally when I play Brewmaster, I'll go mid or go to a lane, or I'll play a 1v1. I'll get Arcane Boots, I'll abuse the lane, I'll farm a lot in the lane. But this game I just simply had Iron Talon, Stout Shield, I went to base a few times. I maybe had some Arcanes from my allies, but it's totally okay for me not to go engage in fights right now. Like, even right now, my HP's full. I don't really have that much mana, but it's okay, because I actually jungle pretty fast with Iron Talon. I think this is the item, like, after playing this game, this is the first time I tried Iron Talon on him. It felt really good from a farm standpoint. Maybe I could have had something like Treads. That might have been reasonable, just because it gives you more damage over time, not to mention huge mana pool increase, considering how bad the hero's mana is. It's truly atrocious, 314 here. Really bad mana pool, but I don't know, it just felt good. It just felt good. So I've almost got my ulti. Actually, that's not true. I've got 50 seconds left. I'm offlane though, so it's kind of okay if I'm passive like this sometimes. I'm also very close to having my blink, so I think I did go back and heal. Yeah, there was no more camps here. If any of these camps were up, I would have killed them, and I knew, yeah, who is this over here? The Magnus. He was going to farm these, so basically there's nothing for me to farm unless I ran all the way to the medium camp, which could have worked, but it would have been a little bit far away. So now I'm in a bit of a weird situation because I don't have money for blink, and I also don't have ulti just up yet, although I could be definitely moving for a kill. So I think what I said is I'm going to go bottom and go do a fight here. And then we just instantly saw like all these heroes over here. And I was like, oh man, I really shouldn't have used my TP. And that's exactly what shouldn't have happened, because now, if a fight happens, I'm not going to be there. With that said, though, I don't actually have enough mana to TP, clap, and ulti. I actually only have enough mana just to ulti if I TP, because that costs me 275. So arguably, I should have something like... even a magic stick could be really good, but having my Blink Dagger this early is just fantastic. Now, there's no way that I can kill a Weaver solo, because all I used to do is use Sakuchi or Time-Lapse, and I don't kill him. So instead what I want to do is rotate towards mid lane, and I'm just going to farm neutral camps until a fight starts. Because I know that my team's pushing top lane, and I could get there, but it would require me to walk and blink many times and run through enemy territory. I could run into like 3 heroes and waste my ulti. Instead, I want to combo with somebody, because I know that if I combo with somebody, we can kill anybody. And this is the case in almost all Dota 2 heroes. You take somebody that has decent control, and like most heroes basically have enough damage to kill a hero by themselves most times. And that's why most pub heroes that are really strong are heroes that can snowball and gank, because if they do that against bad players, they'll eventually get to a point where they can solo kill anybody. But in higher level Dota 2, especially a hero like Brewmaster, you have to coordinate your hero with your allies. So I wouldn't really recommend playing Brewmaster at low MMRs, partially for that reason. It's like a large mix of issues with this hero. For low level players, you have trouble farming, you need a lot of mana, you have to be very careful with your mana, and most players have no concept of that at all. They waste mana all the time. Getting Arcane Boots solves that problem, but in this game, for example, I skipped Arcane Boots, I get a faster blink, and now I'm team fighting really strong from the 12-minute period onward. That's a really good resource. And then your issue now becomes, I have pretty good damage, I have very good disable and strong team fight, but I need somebody on my ally to coordinate, one of my allies to coordinate with me to get a kill. And that's why I'm sitting mid right now farming neutrals, because I know that as much as it would be good for me to be top right now, it's okay for me just to jungle. This is actually a really good fight for them. They got a crap load of gold for Troll. He must be super farmed. Let's look at his net worth. Looks like we're just winning the game moderately well, and Troll also has good net worth. So just farming mud golem camps. I actually didn't lose much HP at all there, only about 1,000. So I got what, 10% miss chance, and I had Iron Talon, and Stout Shield. That's pretty good. My armor's actually decent now, 6 with Iron Talon. I think that's reasonably good. I actually didn't see this TP coming. Maybe that was where we saw him, but as soon as I see him, I go in. I wasn't really expecting him to... There's the lift and dispel. I should have probably used the boulder there. I did use Invis hit. Unfortunately... Oh, I did actually heal him in time. That was very close. I accidentally clicked on the range creep, not the Weaver, so I messed it up quite bad. It's very close. If he hit me once, I would have died. Now I'm just running home. Blink Dagger is super important for Brewmaster to stay alive, because if you don't get out of fights after you use your ultimate, you're almost always dead. So all it takes is repeated damage on me, and I'm caught, and I can't get away. So at this point, I said, alright, it's mana time. I bought a magic wand. It'll solve a lot of issues. It's going to give me 12 mana per int that I get, and I've got 4, so it's 48 more mana. Not to mention if people cast spells. I don't know if you get wand charges. This is really bad for... Oh, he should... Oh, Chachi also got stunned. Very close here. I should have hit a little faster. This is kind of a bad fight. Killing my bugs is pretty important though. Chachi looks super dead. This is just genuinely not a good fight in any way. That was kind of dangerous for me to blink this way, because I could have just gotten hit, but I think that fight kind of just had to go that way. I don't have my ulti, and once I don't have my ulti, my hero's way weaker. You can see your icon change. It gets this like orange haze on it when your crit is up. Again, one skill point, and this is actually pretty value. It takes longer for it to trigger, 16 seconds. This is really important. What I did is that I pulled the creep wave past. They didn't necessarily know that I was here, but I knew that they were going to try to take the tower because they just won a fight. So he actually healed the range creep, I think, instead of... This is really scary now. This is... Yeah, I forgot about this. I messed up quite bad. I think I maybe should have... In that case, if I had more points in my passive, I think I would have lived, to be honest. Chachi a little late on the stun here. They did kill that guy, which is good. This is a huge turning point in our game. Yeah, if I had more points in my passive there, I think I would have lived, because I pretty much just died to right clicks, either from zombies or Weaver or whatever. For that reason, it actually really would have been useful, I think, in a lot of ways, just for me to max my passive this game. Mostly the tombstone zombies. And even Weaver too, like evasion against a hero like this, super valuable. Obviously, I can also do the blind, but considering how many mana problems I had, I kind of feel like it was a little unreasonable. So it's unfortunate. He got that kill, I don't know if that's worth it. I'm sure he's going to feed more gold. If he buys out, it's fine. Okay, he bought out at least. I think for the buyout, that's kind of worth it. I'm sure that the fight recap will tell a different story. Let's see what it is. It says he lost 7 gold, but did he really lose 7 gold? Oh, that's right, he only lost 7 because he bought out. That's what that means. So that's kind of misleading, actually, because this is misleading because he got gold from getting the kill, and then he bought out. So this is actually completely wrong, because he probably got, how much did he get for his kill? He got 352 gold. This actually wasn't that bad. It was about a 500 gold loss. They did get a fuckload of experience, though. That alone is going to make it not worth it. Absolutely wasn't worth it. Oops. So with that said, I dropped my stout shield and I got a raindrop. The raindrop itself, I think, is pretty value. Again, I didn't want to buy. This is important that I blink dodged that, because it would have broken my raindrop and I would have lost 1 charge. But this is important because it'll stop some of the nukes that are getting thrown at me. And it also gives you a lot more mana over time. This is giving me like a 80% more mana, I believe, over time than what I had before. Kind of thinking about ganking top. I also really felt like I needed a wand most of this game. I just didn't move over enough. I genuinely had him. That makes me really sad. I was very confused there. I thought that I was going to be able to kill that guy, because I wanted to clap on him and ulti, and I think we might have been able to get him. I definitely could have disabled him a lot. Oh, this part was really depressing. I almost got my ulti off, but he missiled me in time. I also could have wanded there. I don't know if my raindrop procced. Actually, kind of want to go back and watch that again. So I want to see what my... So I had this ready. I had a 5 charge wand. I'm pretty low. I got desoed. Okay, he lasered me, that's why. Laser does pure damage, which means it wouldn't block. Infused raindrop wouldn't block it. So it was actually really good that he lasered. Laser was what killed me, it wasn't the missile. If I would have wanded, though, I might have stayed alive. That was like a huge throw of a fight, though. Like, I should have been able to get my ulti off, and if I got my ulti off, look at that change. That's fucking huge. He got so much gold out of that, 2,000. Truly incredible. We probably shouldn't have been fighting around that tower as well, unless we did a smoke from the side. Because, like, catching Tinker in the first place is super difficult. If we check out his item build as well, what's he got? Yeah, he's got Blink Aether Lens right now. He's pretty survivable, and he's got a Pudge if things get a little messy, and there's an Undying. There's a lot of heals. It's pretty tough for us to kill him. This is actually a terrible idea to Boots of Travel. If this Weaver skipped BOTs and went another core item, and went like Treads or something, he doesn't even have Aquila either. He should definitely have like Aquila, Deso, Treads. If he has that, he's very, very strong. I really don't like the BOTs, personally. At this point, I dropped Iron Talon to grab the Dust of Appearance. I don't know if I picked up the Iron Talon anymore for the rest of the game, but I felt like Dust was more important because we needed Vision against either Bloodseeker or the Weaver. I don't know if we knew about the other hero just yet. This was a big catch by Chachi here. Magnus does go down, but as long as we can get the Tinker, it should be worth it. Put some extra disable on him. I did not dust. There's the invis thing. Lifted him in the air a little bit. I think I'm taking way too long to do this. I don't know why he time-lapsed there. That was pretty stupid. I also wasted a lot of my ulti time doing that when I could have been fighting. I don't think I did that very well at all. I think almost immediately after the point in which I lifted him, I should have dropped him down. Because my whole team was sitting around, and it gave them like 5 seconds to catch up. Like, the only reason that fight even went well is because Tinker died right at the start. That part was really good. My ulti was easily worth it for that. But I think that was... I waited way too long to dust. Where did he go? He did go left, okay. That's what I figured. As soon as I misdust him, I figured that he had gone left. At this point, if you have enough mana regen, you can definitely use Clap to do your last hitting. Kind of wanted to push this one more. This is a little scary because I do have to worry about Tinker. Again, I can't stop him from rearming, I can't stop him from chasing me. I just have to like farm and get out. Pushing lanes like this is super important though, because it means that if Tinker TPs to the lane, he can't just get the creeps at our tower anymore. Not instantly at least. And now with as much gold as I have, it's time to start working on my my Aghanim Scepter. Again, I could go with something like Boots of Travel first, maybe. I brought a Dust that Chachi had dropped. It's a dead Magnus. I don't know my ulti for 15. This looks like a pretty good fight. I don't know who killed the Tinker, but... So I wanted to see who had item space. Gave one Dust to one of them. And then I'm going to go get my Point Booster. I kind of regretted not having an extra TP here. Point Booster is kind of the changing moment if you skip Arcanes, because it does give you a lot of mana. In fact, it's even better for Brew than it used to be. It used to give 200 HP and 150 mana, now it gives 175 mana. I'd say that's a good trade on this hero. We could have started Roshing a little earlier. This is slightly delayed. But it's pretty easy to Rosh, because I can do 75% miss with Drunken Haze. Breaks Linken's as well. And then I also have Evasion for myself. But Troll's fantastic at taking Rosh. Let's see what he's got. This is a cool build. I actually like this a lot. Morbid Mask, Echo Saber, Shadowblade. He also had a Basie. It looked like he could have potentially made a Vlad's if he wanted, but I think I told him that I was going to make a Vlad's at some point. I'm not sure. I assume that more were here, considering the fact that he went in. This is exactly what you should be doing with a little bit of right-clicking. Oh, this was unfortunate. I almost lifted him. It was real close. Oh, I forgot about this one. This was pretty... I knew for a fact that the Tinker was gone. I guess he had Aegis, so it's not that big of a deal. I don't know if we even kill him. Can't really do anything other than TP here. Got out just in time. So we did actually kill the Tinker. If he goes BS, I can't remember what happened here. If you want range for him, maybe he gets him. Just dodge the bugs and he should be good. That was probably not worth my time, considering that this guy's in trouble. Still a good fight though. I didn't die. My ultimate was fairly useful. We got 2 kills out of it. We should have been able to kill the Tinker, but I hesitated a little. Like as soon as I lifted and dropped the Undyne, I think I should have gone invis with it and started scouting for the next fight, rather than how I did it, which was use it for damage. Because if I would have started moving a little bit, I might have been able to get the Tinker with it. And then if we lift the Tinker, then he's really in trouble. Although I don't know if... I feel like this is a pretty good chase. This is a moment where I wish I had more movement speed, either Bloodlust or something else. Although that's pretty good for disable. Bloodseeker came out of nowhere. Then we just killed him. Power of Drunken Haze. Just about got my eggs. It's okay, it's a little delayed, I think. It's not super delayed. I think I've been fighting well, relatively well. I've been in team fights at least, that's the important thing. I do have enough mana for my split ulti, too. Just kind of waiting to see if the Tinker shows up. I think it's a little greedy to blink to clap though, because I can obviously dodge a missile with blink. So I think it'd be better... I think it'd be better if I walked in, clapped, and then blinked out. I do this too often when I play aggressively. So this is definitely a place that you should play if you're on Dire side. If their tier 1 tower is dead, these 2 camps should be yours. And you can go between farming these camps and pushing the creep wave out. We have good wards in the area. I won't say good wards. We have wards in the area. Not good, but they're wards. And but that should protect us to taking these 2 camps, pretty much. It's nice. They started getting some really good ganks. The Shadowblade on the Troll really helped out for this reason. Especially with the Echo Saber, because it actually provides a slow. Normally that's Troll's problem, is that he has to get things like S and Y to actually be semi-useful. I should have just, yeah, I should have done that a little earlier. Had another boulder, of course. Lifted the Bloodseeker. Either way, we had a sentry ready. Chachi played really well this game. He was the ogre. Like, he actually had all the support items ready to go constantly. It was a pretty solid game. And in some ways, our draft was cool because we had Bloodlust on ogre, as well as Empower on the Magnus. It allowed all of our cores to be more strong than normal. Even, like, Silencer. Like, everything made a lot of sense. It's the most obvious hook in the world, so you just dodge it. I shouldn't have gone for that, though, because I could have just fucking died. If he hooks me there, 100% I die. There's no way my allies save me. Occasionally when you use wand, drop your mana items. I increased my mana. I probably got an extra like 40 or 50 mana out of my item with that. I did get the blind on him. This is pretty bad. Just didn't see. That was close. That was really close actually. Like I was getting a lot of crits. That blind actually saved that guy's life. That was a sick play from Tinker. Very close. We kind of fought that one out, and it probably was not worth it. Yeah, it was not, but it was cool. We almost got a kill. If I had like Treads there or Phase or something, definitely would have killed him. And that's maybe somewhere that I went wrong with this fast item build that I went. Like if I went Treads, for example, and I had Iron Talon, I probably would just jungle faster. If I got more points in Drunken Brawler than Drunken Haze, I definitely would have jungled faster because it would increase my damage by like 5% times 100%, so like 5% faster. Because basically, if you crit, you're doing a double hit, so it's like 100% damage. So you multiply the percent increase times the percent damage increase, and it's basically a 5% increase in damage. So now this increases my damage by 25%, which is pretty good. It's a natural damage amp, whereas having all these extra points in Drunken Haze didn't help me jungle faster. They're only helpful in ganks and teamfights. And what's more important, being effective really early in ganks and teamfights with slightly more mischance, or to get your important items such as Blink Dagger or Ags faster. And arguably the answer to that is Ags and Blink. Anyways, now that I have Ags, I can actually use all my basic skills in conjunction with my ultimate. Which means, most importantly, Thunderclap and Drunken Haze. So even if I ulti split, I can actually still affect the mischance of things like Tinker or Bloodseeker Weaver, really. Very, very impactful against the Weaver, especially. 75% misses so much. They just messed up the Bloodseeker over here, apparently. Bloodseeker actually really choked this game. He went Radiance after Shadowblade. I think if he went something like maybe BKB instead, he would have been a lot more effective. Because like some of those fights, I would just lift him with the Cyclone, for example. It's one of the many times that I felt the need to actually just push lanes, unfortunately. So if you don't push lanes against a Tinker, then he will push your lanes, and then they will take your towers most likely. So next item is definitely BOTs, because I have to start contending with the fact that Tinker's all over the map. Looking back, maybe it was a waste to do this so early. But if you are against a Tinker, a lot of the times you really do need the extra mobility. My team's they did a really good job getting kills random places on the map. But it's definitely still important to push out other lanes. Oops. I was able to blink. Had to ulti there. Fortunately, I misclicked that. I should have ran the Storm Panda through, I think. I see now why it didn't work very well. And now once you lose vision of him, he's just going to do like a blink kind of a thing. Luckily my team is actually here now. So I blinked in trees, and it's important to do that after your ultimate ends. And times like these where the fight's already pretty bad, you just gotta blink to trees and get out. So that was kind of bad. I forced my team to rotate over, I lost my ultimate. But once you're 16, it's not that big of a deal, because when it ends, you have a 80-second cooldown. So it's actually not terrible, kind of. It really just takes getting to level 16 fast. It's quite important for Brewmaster. And the best way to do that is ganks and teamfights. You can do it by farming, but it's not really the way you should be playing Brewmaster. Unless you get like farming items and a Blink Dagger, and then you participate in a lot of fights, but farm really well in between. And that's something that I maybe could have done a lot better. was one of those times where me not having Blink Dagger actually really cost me. I knew he wasn't going to be able to kill me though, because I checked his mana and he only had about 450 left. So one of the limitations to Tinker is that he can only do his combo so many times. So even if he did do that perfectly, he can only laser missile me so much. If he has Dagon, then it's easier because he doesn't have to rearm. The big mana cost is really actually rearm in that whole situation. But I figured at this point he didn't have quite enough damage to solo kill me. The other one had Weaver also hitting me, and that's why it was really dangerous. But that cost me a lot of regen. Now I'm basically realizing like, oh, I'm actually having massive issues just staying alive versus Tinker. If he gets me solo, it kind of forces me just to ulti. And kind of similar to my example earlier against Nature's Prophet, I kind of do have to use my ultimate just to disable him, and that's extremely expensive to do. I sold my Iron Talon here. Oh, this is so nice, dude, when he gave me Empower. Especially with crits. Crit cleaves, man. That shit's good. So now I can actually counteract the pushing of the Tinker a little bit better. I was very spoiled by the crits earlier. I crit like 3 times in a row or something. That's why the waves died so rapidly. But Empower helped a shitload. I don't have to use my nuke just to push the lanes. I've also got BOTs coming, so I sold my TP scrolls. And again, I blinked aggressively. And I'm going to probably have to use my ultimate here. I could have blinked here, actually. This is a really well-used ultimate. Honestly, I could have blinked into trees. I don't know why I didn't. I was hoping maybe I could kill the trees with something like Dispel, but obviously it wouldn't work. And I should have looked at the map better, because I could have had my brew over here actually slap in the whole time. He's running. He's trying to help. I should have blinked there. Yeah, if I just blinked I wouldn't have died. I messed that whole engagement up so bad, actually. That's kind of my fault that 3 of us died. I easily could have blinked in the tree when I went in to juke. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, or I thought that I don't know if I had maybe I thought I had bugs on myself. But I should have blinked into trees, and then none of that would have happened. I could have let the BOTs transfer to me, and then with BOTs I could have just TP'd out. At least until the Tinker gets Hex, and he did go the Ags Aether Lens build. Pretty standard Tinker build right now. That was a good try. He missed him though. I was thinking about pinging it, but I was like, he can probably see. The Magnus was 5k party, I think, so he's probably like a 5.5k player or something. But yeah, this is kind of the issue. Basically, every time Tinker goes somewhere, we have to back, because we don't really have easy disables. So now I started buying Yules, because I thought, hey, if I get Yules, I can disable somebody that's TPing. I thought the Purge would be in this little crevice here. Right in there. He actually wasn't though. I was surprised. Pretty much just sitting back waiting for the fight. Windlace is something else that I maybe should have had earlier too. But I'm way faster than I was before. Yeah, I was at about 350 before, now I'm sitting at 420. Just between BOTs and Windlace. Huge advantage as well to getting away from heroes like Tinker. Because if I can't blink, at least I can run fast. Did a really shit job last hitting that. Don't really know where any of them are. It's kind of scary. I can always ulti if things get really bad, but it's not ideal. I'm also kind of just trading waves with the Tinker, and he's surely farming faster than me. So. Also really wish I still had the Magnus cleave. I do understand that he has to be other places. If you're wondering why I'm top though, it's good that somebody pushes it out, and usually it should be your survivable hero. Like offlane here or something like that, but that was really close. Almost got him there. I could probably go up to the top lane and push it out, but it's kind of far. You need about 2,500 gold to upgrade. The cleave, so good. Now I'm like, oh shit, I have cleave farming mode, let's do it. Look at that farm, isn't that beautiful? Lost my cleave here, which is why I gave up. Now they're pushing bottom. I got like a huge amount of gold in that little bit of time. It's got a hex on Tinker now. So now I have to worry about getting chain hex. It's pretty scary. Although they have wasted rupture here. That was actually crazy Chachi dodge though. I could probably fight. I think I told my team let's go fight. Actually, I think I backed off and got my heals and then I said go fight. Alright, so even more movement speed now. I'm running 440 and I have more mana regen and I can dodge like a missile if I want to. Or I can use somebody to interrupt TPs. Definitely want to fight though.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I think I actually meant to Eul's him, but I didn't break the Lincolns correctly. Oh, this fight was really unfortunate. Oh, I see the Bloodseeker killed the Magnus, that's what happened. It's a nice ulti by Pudge here. Now it's pretty much just me versus 3 heroes, and I was fighting because I thought that somebody would be doing something. I did a really bad job microing here. My Fire Panda was actually just not even auto-attacking. Pretty much the only way I survived this one is blinking right away. But that was a fast hex on, the Tinker was spamming hex on me. Yeah, basically we got spread out in that, and the Magnus died right away, and the Troll was over to the right, so I kind of just died for nothing. I did misuse my ulti a lot, and the initiation itself was pretty sloppy, but if our whole team was there, I think it would have been okay, but it didn't go well. I don't even think I used my clap on my Earth Panda there. I think I just used my basic skills. Did I even clap the Pudge? Not sure. That's a good D-ward. Actually, I wasn't a huge fan of the Silencer not maxing out Curse, but extra HP is very good against heroes like Tinker. But I felt like if you cast Arcane Curse on a Tinker, and every time that he casts a spell, it gets recasted, so it would pretty much permanently do damage. And it slows movement speed, and most importantly is that it could interrupt Blink. I don't know if 1 point does it. If it does, it's probably good enough. But the cooldown reduction is decent. The slow increase is okay. Damage is quite good, I would say. We didn't lose Rax there, so it wasn't the end of the world, but obviously not looking amazing over here. Next up, definitely Vlad's. Maybe you could do something like Glimmer Cape. Perhaps. I told my team I wanted to smoke, but we should push the lane first, because if your lanes are like right here, then it's too obvious that you're doing this right after you push the wave is really important. That way you get on the map faster and you can try to take a fight. Oh, I think we just saw an Undying. I should have probably lifted the Pudge, I think. Did boulder him over here. There's my Thunderclap. I don't think I did a super good job with my ult, but it was okay. I definitely should have sent the Storm Panda after the Pudge and lifted him. Just because that's a hero that isn't that scary in the fight. It's just nice to have him out of the fight. Just lift him in the air. That way he can't hook, he can't ulti. This part was real confusing. That guy was clearly not paying attention at all. I forgot about that. That was some throwy shit. Based on his movements, it didn't look like he did it on purpose. I think he was just like bad or something. I tried to use myself there, but I messed up. That was weird. And that kind of just stopped the whole push, considering how much damage he fucking did with 4 missiles like that. That was insane. Maybe we could Roche with this? I don't know if Roche is up. We got a tower. We got a 5-man wipe. Roche must not be up, surely. Because they would have been doing it. Actually, a Tinker over here. That's pretty scary. If he decides that he wants a jungle, I could just die. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, it actually worked out. That was actually pretty funny, if you want to see that again. So I blinked left because I saw the Tinker was there, and I knew that he saw me, but he could still see that I was here. So I think he came after me. I knew that he was going to be able to combo me. I was able to do damage and prevent his blink. He hexed the only one he could, which is a Storm Panda, but it didn't matter, he was pretty much dead at this point. And now you can take your other Panda and go invis to get movement speed. And then you can do lifts like this that guarantee you kills. It's pretty value. He missed his first hit there. That was quite nice. Just a casual gem on the ground. That was actually an item I maybe should have bought instead of Yule's, was Lotus Orb. Actually, on the Magnus. I think I kind of messed up by not getting that. It's arguably a lot better. Mana regen, I guess I kind of need that, but Lotus Orb does that as well. It's a lot more expensive, but it gives you armor, which would be great against both Bloodseeker and the Weaver. And we could reflect skills such as Rupture, Laser, Hex, Dismember, a bunch of... I actually maybe could have killed the guy, I just had no idea he was there. I would have had to do the Drunken Haze and then Yule's, but it would have been pretty useful. Just want to clear this wave before I TP mid. That way there is less chance of backdoor. That was a huge force by the silencer. We did get Rax. Weaver does have MKB now, by the way. So my Drunken Haze is only lowers movement speed. It's pretty worthless. I think we just rushed into Rush here. It's pretty nice having Vlad's, that's for sure. I was giving them the option, but I got Aegis. I guess the troll didn't have space. Got 11 power. Next items, planning for AC, just armor, attack speed, all that good stuff. Bloods is good not just because of the armor it gives me, but also because of the lifesteal to my allies. There's so much damage coming from Tinker that having a little bit more lifesteal can make a big difference sometimes. There's an MKB on Troll as well, so blind doesn't work anymore, so no matter what, he can lifesteal if he needs to. Took way more damage than I expected. Heals to save myself a bit. We have been hard countered by a basic item. It's kind of a nice rupture counter, huh? Just use your ultimate. Bloodlust and power, so good. It's like having a Hyperstone with a Sanjin Yasha with a Battle Fury. 1.5 Battle Furies. That shit, man, makes your team so good. Somebody had been farming ancients. Actually got a lot of farm in this little time period. I don't know why Bloodseeker kept dying. He was actually one of the high MMRs on the team. I think he really needed to buy an MK or a BKB personally. He was super countered all the time by not having one. I should have asked for Empower before I went back, and because the reason I went back was because I knew my team was prepping for a push because there's a dead Bloodseeker. So I went back super early, that way I could counter push and prevent Tinker from pushing the lane. And by doing that, by the time we did have a fight at a tower, that my my TP would be off cooldown. So a little bit of preparation like this is super important when you're dealing with split push heroes like Tinker. Because if you don't, then by the time we take the fight, then Tinker is literally hitting our racks. Kind of similar to what's happening mid. He just killed the Weaver anyways, that was pretty cool.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well, that's how he lived. He used Glimmer and he ran away. I actually couldn't believe that he lived there. I thought he was super dead. So, next item that I decided to buy, I thought I would go for an Abyssal Blade. It's kind of a bad idea because I don't have very good attack speed, but with Bloodlust I do, kind of. And more importantly, it's about having a disable that I can blink, initiate, I can Yule somebody if I need to, and I can also use Abyssal Blade to disable, to stun. Could have blink dodged that one maybe. My Brewing things actually do pretty good damage now. I should have actually scouted with the Storm Panda, not the stone one, because the stone one lets them know that I'm watching. This does buy space, so the Purge clear in the air for 6. Can throw him in the air again. Dodge the bugs. Buy all of your items because you're about to feed like an idiot. Blink dodge the missile. Hope that he doesn't chase you all the way. So it's kind of nice. I'll take a regen rune.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Also got my Abyssal finished, I just need to buy the Vit booster.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
The other good thing about the Abyssal here, just extra HP is good. Damage block too. Even if it's not amazing damage block, it's still nice to have. Against zombies, and I think damage block works against zombies at least. I'll have to check. But I definitely shouldn't have put myself in that position. I didn't need to blink forward and clap the Tinker. It doesn't do anything to the guy, you know? But my survivability is quite good now. 10 HP per or 15 HP per second from this. I think I get 3 from this. It's like 18 minimum. It's really good value. That's not a real item over there, unfortunately. Actually stunned him with Abyssal just now. That was actually really stupid. Almost got the blink there. I should be able to get the blink. I'm pretty fast. That's actually full movement speed. Now I can just lifesteal. Arcane runes are like fabulous on this hero because I can lower the cooldown of my ultimate. I'm healed enough. Plenty, right? Could go on the Pudge. but our heroes are kind of spread out. It's like actually messing up my brewlings. Abyssal Blade! Part of the reason I was able to farm a lot is because the Tinker pushed lanes a lot, but what they should have done is probably sat like 4 heroes in aggressive positions and prevented us from, like, basically ganked us whenever I pushed out top lane, for example. But it was kind of hard because of my ability to use ulti, because if I use ulti I can usually get away. So, I don't know, I had a lot of fun playing the game. We threw a bunch of times, they threw a few times, and we ended up winning it. I felt like my laning stage went quite well. I think the way that I split between my ulti usage in the early game was good, and the speed at which I got my blink, I was really happy with that. So as a whole, I was pretty down with this game. I felt like it was a pretty good explanation of how to play the hero. One thing I didn't really mention much is how to micro it, and I basically just used the tab bar. Ideally, in a perfect world, you would actually be hotkeying things individually, and it's a good idea to do this in demo hero mode, I think. So before you even get into your pub games, you can mess around with what your hotkeys are. Me personally, I have 3 hotkeys, so I actually could get away with this. With that said, my main one is here. So if I do free spells and level up to max. So this should probably be like 2. Okay, this works, I guess. Because number 1 is always going to be my main hero anyways. And then I can move this over here and do things. Okay. Let's spawn a dummy target. So I'll show you how this should work, ideally. Oops. Should be like boom, boom. I'm doing this wrong tab. Okay, I'm gonna do this over again. That was so bad. There's the Dispel. Look at that range. Isn't that huge? And it's a 4-second cooldown. Damage of summons. Does damage of summons. Cyclone is 8 seconds. Lasts for 6. Okay, let's do this again. You know, I should do this again without free spells. Because it kind of ruins the whole experiment, huh? What's the cooldown on this? 5 seconds. Does really good damage. Oh, it does like 300 level 3? That's really good. Okay, here we go. This time for real. Refresh. Oops. And in the meantime, this guy in the back, for example, would be lifting one. Yules. And then clap again. So I just did like a fuckload of damage. 7,700 with all of that auto attacking. Obviously, most of the time you're not necessarily doing like, you're not standing still, just whacking on the guy, and he also has 0 armor is the important thing, so that's why I did so much, but that is a crap load of damage, that's for sure. Pretty fun though. Takes a lot of micro. Again, I just recommend using tab. In that case, I basically would just attack through, use my spells, tab. And then once you're done with the Storm Panda, you go back to this one. And you go back to this one again. Oh, that actually worked. I got a double hit from that. Just like bounty, maybe? I'm not sure. Let me try that again. That could be actually really impactful if you do it correctly. I think you have to do it like this. No, I think I'm seeing the number from this crit guy. I could probably test it again. We'll let that number go away. It worked. So you can do this like bounty hunter. This would be the best way to do it, actually. Wow, that's actually so fucking game breaking. That's how you should do it every single time. Basically, you should time your attack on your hero, on your storm, that way you get 2 hits, because that's 440 physical bonus damage that I just got from my storm panda by doing it the same way that bounty does it, which is you cast the spell and immediately attack. That way, as your fade time is going through, your attack lands with bonus damage. And then by the time you... There you go. So I basically got... I got 2 bonus damages of that in. I mean, that's really, like, see how much more damage I did that time? I did like 8,000. I did like individual bad micro things, but if you just practice this a little bit in this mode, like you can really get decent at Brewmaster and not have to mess around in a real game. You're still gonna play bad probably, because shit's hard to do. But honestly, this isn't that hard to... Oops, this isn't that... What the heck? Oh, I was selecting it as well, that's why. Anyways, I think that's good. I hope you guys learned enough, and yeah, just tab is your friend mostly. I can set these individually hotkeys as well in here, which is kind of nice to have. But I could just do this all day. Get fucked. So yeah, alright, thanks for watching. Bye guys.